of having that faith and taking the next step. Even if you can't see where you're stepping, like, okay, you've tripped and fell, get back up, see something, get clear on it, and then like just lose myself in action so I don't think about it too much. Because when you think about it, it kind of pushes it away.
Yep.
But it works, man. Like I'm literally living my dream right now. Like sitting here talking to you on this podcast.
All right, guys, today's guest is someone who's been in the sales game for over 25 years, from selling automotive repair to liquor to working trade shows. He's seen it all. He's worked through ups and downs and stayed in the fight when a lot of people would have tapped out. This guy's story isn't just about sales, it's about perseverance. He had his first daughter at 16 and used that as fuel to build a better future, not an excuse to quit. Today, he is known as the Cowboy Closer. Fun fact, he just flew in from the John Wayne Airport into Southern California. And while he'll be the first to tell you he's still sharpening his skills every single day, but the freedom he's built through sales speaks for itself, and we're going to definitely talk about that. We're going to go into a real side of his journey, the wins, the lessons, and everything in between. Help me welcome to the show, the Cowboy Closer, Leo. What's up, man? Leo Gallardo. How you doing, man?
Mike? I'm good, man. I'm fantastic, dude.
Fun fact, guys. Leo and I have known each other almost exactly a year. A little bit more than a year now. And it's crazy because we just saw each other in person for the first time, and we've been working closely together for over a year, and it's kind of trippy.
Yeah.
It's like, dang, bro, like we're here, it's in the flesh. I can't believe it. It's him. So it's pretty cool. But I guess I want to start this off, Leo, dude, just talking about how the heck did you even end up here?
Oh man, that's a long journey. I was working in the corporate world, in sales, and I had a few different roles, and I was in one for about 5 or 6 years, and COVID hit and we went remote, and I was exceeding expectations. Like I was motivated. I was really in my zone. I actually came out to California during COVID, drove from Miami to San Francisco. And
oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah. The pandemic hit and we went up to our place in the mountains in North Carolina, and I talked to my boss. I'm like, hey, does it matter where I am? And he's like, no, dude, as long as you're in your meetings and you're answering your emails, you're taking care of your stuff, keep it on the low. Long story short, I ended up in San Francisco. I went all the way up to Minnesota, across the Dakotas, down through, I was like a month and a half road trip to myself because there was nobody out. It was COVID. So
Damn.
Everything was empty. And then we went back, and there was some leadership change with the company, and they started reeling me back into the office, and I had already gotten a taste of that freedom, and I was like, there's just not going to happen. So, there was a battle back and forth. Now it wasn't really a battle, but it was one of those things where my performance made it a battle because it wasn't easy for them to just cut me.
Right.
And I was trying to get my way. And in the end, we just kind of like, all right, let's split ways. And funny thing about it is that when that finally happened, pretty much that next week, I found you guys.
Dang. How did you find the school community?
So I've been looking to be a high ticket closer for like 2 years because that battle was like 2 years.
I didn't know that either. 2 years prior, you had been thinking about high ticket closing.
I wanted to do something remote.
Okay.
And I like we spoke about it.
That was what you knew was certain, was like, hey, remote's kind of the next move for me.
Yeah. And sales. Remote sales. Yeah. I have a cousin who I thank him all the time. He told me, Leo, if you want to make the most money, get into sales. No matter where you are, no matter what you do.
You're talking about Laz?
No, not Laz.
Okay.
Our cousin Gus.
Okay, got it.
And I was, my 7-year-old now was about to be born. He's like, dude, whatever you do, just get into sales. You can do it. Doesn't matter what it is. You're going to make the most amount of money. And I was like, all right, I'm going to sales. And once I got into sales, I was like, yeah, I'm making more money than everybody else here. Like sales is it. So remote sales was it. And, I looked for, I don't know, a year, 2 years for a position. Couldn't find anything. Ran into the brick wall. You got to invest. You don't have the experience. You got to be a setter. I wasn't having it. And I thought, I like a lot of people when they get into this game, they think that they've got what it takes. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? And you have to have that a little bit to succeed. Like you have to know it. But at the same time, you're going to get kicked in the mouth because it's not the same.
No,
like, this is a whole different sport.
It's lonelier.
It's that. And it's very unique.
Very unique.
Like you're talking to somebody you've never met. It's really technically never really meet.
Yeah.
Right. Like
yeah.
on a Zoom call, with a digital background, and you're convincing them to give you, thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
45 minutes after meeting them. Like it's if you've never done that, like,
different game.
It's a completely different game, dude. It just doesn't exist. And if you think you can do it, by all means, come join us.
Yeah.
We're the best.
There you have it. So, dude, okay, so you were looking for a high ticket gig, remote sales gig for about 1 to 2 years or so. And then you came across the Sewell community just in searching. I remember seeing you on calls when I'm no longer a coach in there, but when I was coaching basically a couple times a week, I remember you always just showing up. And I was like, man, I like how like you were showing up, you were asking the right questions. I could tell you were intelligent, right? I could tell like, okay, like there's some substance there, like more than the average person that I see in the community. And I'm like, man, okay, cool. Like I'm going to keep my eye on Leo.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how this whole thing started. And then sure enough, you just kept showing up, right? And I think there's something to be said about that, right? It's like all you did was continue to show up, continue to put in the time, exchange your time, which is valuable, right? It's the most important, maybe, currency we have, right? And you kept showing up. So fast forward, an opportunity came. You and I chatted, and you got onboarded to the team. Yeah. And the rest has been history. But like it's interesting because you've been part of offers that we basically started from the ground up. You got to see what it's like to put an offer together, what it's like to market it, what it's like to scale it, what it's like to go through the trials and tribulations in scaling it, the highs, the lows, the continuous pivots, right? It's kind of never ending. And that's probably stuff you're discovering about the remote high ticket space as well, right? Is like things change pretty quick and you have to get used to adapting. Let's talk about that a little bit. I think a lot of people have a hard time adapting, which, most people don't like change. It's uncomfortable. You got to, put more effort in, learn more stuff, X, Y, and Z. Like, have you been kind of seeing this part of like, adaptability and pivoting? Like, do you have any insights that you can maybe share with us around that?
I love it, honestly. Like I'm the kind of person when I was a little kid, I had stations. I had to go from one thing to another. Like I couldn't just stick on one thing.
Yep.
So it's like, it keeps it fresh. It keeps it new. Like if you understand the way that these things evolve, the way the consumer evolves, the way everything evolves, you got to expect it. Like it's just going to change and you got to be ready for it.
Yep.
And if it doesn't, like if you find yourself in the same spot for 5 years, I can't imagine there aren't many people that are in one offer for, 5-10 years. Cause the way the game works, you got to create a new offer every so often just to keep people coming back because you have the same customers repeating. So it's like, I personally, it's like whenever you're in a relationship with anything, my relationship with work, I fall more in love with it the more it changes.
Interesting.
Honestly, it's like, all right, well, here's a shift, here's a pivot. And it's even more interesting to see people that are performing that can't keep up because they just can't, they like put themselves, this is how I sell it.
Yeah.
And then when they got to get off that and they got to get off that crutch, they get left behind and you got to go to a whole new offer or whatever the case is. But I look forward to it. Like I love building it. I loved it. Like when we got everything up and running, I'm like, Mike, next time we got to build something, let me know, dude, I'm in.
Yeah. You got to see literally us starting something from nothing, literally
Zero.
Just an idea to scaling to over $1 million a month, all within
months,
6 months, maybe less. That's crazy.
Yeah. It was fun, man. It's been fun. It's been a lot of fun.
That's pretty crazy. So talk to me a little bit about, you're around a lot of us. You're in proximity, even though we're virtual.
Yeah.
I think you do a really good job making sure like you stay connected with us, whether it's me, whether it's Steven, whether it's Trish, whether it's Rich, whether it's Christian, whether whoever it is, other team members. There's a ton of them. Walk us through like what like your experience has been like being on the team. Talk about like what's your thoughts on the culture? What's your thought on like the support? What's your overall, like, if you can kind of walk us through, like, what's your experience been?
Dude, since day one, it was like, it clicked for me. The way I found Closers Network was on school. When I discovered that there was 1 million people doing it, everybody had like a free course, a free class. I said, all right, I'm going to get in all of these. Like before I got into this, I invested money, tried to make my own marketing company, and I would basically funnel hack for positions. When I discovered that every time I got on an ad, there was a closer on the end of it, I just started, I have a whole email I can't even use anymore because I would just go through the ad just because I knew I was going to talk to a closer and see, hey, are you guys hiring? how'd you get this job? And just like literally for like 6 months, just trying to find a position. Then I went on school and there was, I mean, countless people, but Closers Network was the only one that had a free class every single day.
That's crazy.
Never missed, always someone there, value that was tens of thousands of dollars worth of value. And the culture was there. I could just feel it. I'm like, all right, these are my people. Like, these are my people. It was literally what it was. So it's like, I knew, and I remember talking to my wife about it when I was doing these classes. She's like, are you working? I'm like, yeah. She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I want to work with them. I don't know what they're selling. I don't know what it is. I want to be something, you know, you have a couple offers that I wasn't aligned with, but I was like, I want to work with Mike and Trish and George and Marissa and everybody. I was just like, this is the team I want to work with 100%.
That's crazy, dude. I almost forgot. At some point in time, our school community was doing 5 days a week free coaching. I think we're doing about 2 now.
It was 5 days. Every
5
day.
days. You're right, dude. Like, I had people, I forgot about that. You just reminded me. I had people walking in there. They're like, I don't understand. Like, I paid $10 or $15 or $20,000 and I didn't get anywhere near the level of coaching you guys are giving for free. And that was like the everyday, multiple messages, multiple people on like live Zoom calls telling us. And I was like, man, I think we're onto something.
And it wasn't a pitch.
And it wasn't a pitch. Yeah, that's right. It wasn't it was just, we're given, like we were doing the Hormozy method.
Literally, dude. It was literally what it was.
That's where we got it from, though. We were literally following Hormozy, just give, and then you'll get, if you know, the right people. And that's what ended up happening.
Yeah.
People, we just started building trust. And people were like, okay, damn, if these guys are giving all this stuff for free, like if I considered what the other side could be like, if I did get involved, and you know, if you guys aren't aware, right, the remote high ticket space is more so today a pay to play model, just because, you know, not just our sales agency, just a lot of others. There's thousands of reps that have been in and out, right? And it's although sometimes we take a bet on the reps, the reps always don't necessarily take that serious bet and skin in the game on themselves. And so therefore we have it set up as a deposit. I think we're the only sales agency or any offer that I know of that actually gives that money back. And if you're interested to hear kind of some stories and testimonials, I just had a few people on the podcast, if you go a few episodes back, talking about them getting their deposit back. So, but that being said, that's what we're talking about as far as like, if you want to get involved in the space, it's kind of like our model is a deposit model, right? Where we sort of pay to play, just because, again, these leads cost a lot. We want to make sure we're getting serious people that are looking for a home and X, Y, and Z. And I forgot where I was going with that, of course.
There's people that pay and don't take it serious. It's the craziest thing about it.
Yes.
There's even people that pay and don't take it serious. You're like, you just gave somebody, and on top of the fact that we're way less expensive than most people.
That's right.
And they'll go out there to spend like, $10, sometimes more $1,000 and then not even take it serious. It's crazy. Yeah. It's insane. But the value that you guys gave more than everybody, because every time I ever got on anything, it was a pitch. And if there wasn't enough people, the people sometimes wouldn't even show up.
Damn.
And you're like, dude, and some people that you know specifically that they would do these things, like some names that you know that you're like, all right, well, you give me a free coaching call every week and I want to do this. And to be honest with you, I was doing it the hard way. I was doing it the expensive way. Pay to play is the cheapest way to do it. If you're serious about this and you think you can do it, put your money where your mouth is and get with the best team. Yeah. Because after training, before I worked with you, I went and worked on a couple different offers. And I didn't make a penny. And it wasn't me. Like it was cold calling. It was.
Oh, I forgot about that. You were telling me you got this outbound gig.
It was supposed to be a setter where I can kind of work my way to it. I was using another program that I won't name, but it was very, very like, they wanted me to follow the script. And if I didn't follow the script and we did call reviews, they're like, hey, you didn't say that word. I'm like, dude, you want me to say every single word that's on here? Like, that's not the way I talk, but okay, And then I worked for another offer with someone who's like a great offer, great fulfillment, but it just wasn't put together. Like it just wasn't a complete thing. So it's like, people don't realize that the hardest thing really in this industry is to find the right gig. Like finding the right gig is, everything else takes time and practice with the right team. But if you find the right gig with the right team and the right situation, that's the most valuable thing. Somebody that fulfills, somebody with integrity, somebody that's going to like care about people, that care about you, that they're going to teach you. And they're like, that's hard to find.
That's so true, dude. That is so true. In fact, a a lot of the people that come into our agency talk about how they paid to get placed and never got placed. And we've never had that issue, which is crazy to me.
Yeah.
And that's because we are the sales agency. We have the offers and the influencers we sell for. I think that's the main reason. But because these people are just influencers, they're selling a coaching program, but where do they put them? There's only so many reps they would be able to take on for their own offer. Where does everybody else go?
Maybe.
And to your point, dude, there's not a lot of solid offers out there in this space. And if you want something reputable, that's proven, right? That has the fulfillment, the trust, that's going to make sure your client gets taken care of. There's not a lot of that. That's a great point. That's a great point.
Yeah, it's an interesting like dynamic. You gotta get to learn the industry, and a lot of times you learn through experience.
That's right.
The smart ones just pay for it. Brad's the one who taught me on that one. He's like, dude, like if you see it, pay for it. You're doing it the easy way. Yeah, it's cheaper.
But actually, Anthony was, Anthony DeMauro was just on the call, and he had the qualifications, but he's one of the most rarest dudes who's like, hey, even though I have the qualifications, he's like, I'm not trying to waste time. Here's the money. Like, charge me and get me in. And he literally, that's what he did. And then he just got his money back too. But he's one of those guys that was qualified. Actually, like we would have taken him on because he had real experience. He had actual like money he had made. He could prove he made this kind of money. He can prove he knew how to close. He had call recordings, like all of it. And it's like not a lot of people do. But he was just like, I don't want to have a second interview with Mike or whoever this person is. Like, just get me in. Just get me in, bro. Talk to me about how you got the nickname, how you have the nickname, the Cowboy Closer. Walk us through like when did that happen and how did it happen?
I can't tell you the specific moment. It kind of was one of those things that's organic. My daughters started riding rodeos and we started doing the cowboy stuff and it just kind of flowed off the tongue. And then I don't know if it was my wife or my daughter that said it, but it was a family thing. There was like, hey, you're the Cowboy Closer. My little kids even have a song for me, like the Blippy song.
Yeah.
But, they kind of encouraged me on it. And, I've always had a creative side. I've done some production stuff and some TV stuff. And this is really it's like an outlet for me. I've always kind of had like a barrier putting myself out there. So now I've had like a little blend of a character with, the faceless stuff. It's really for entertainment more than anything.
Yep.
And like I always tell my wife, I didn't grow up a cowboy, right? Like I have the stuff now, but she's like, I always tell her, I'm more closer than cowboy. She's like, yeah.
Let's talk about that, dude. You have a very interesting lifestyle. I know a lot of people, but I don't know a lot of people that live in rural areas that are living and like to me, the way I look at it, like true freedom.
Yeah.
Which is you have your own schedule. You get the opportunity to take calls at whatever days and times you want to open up the calendar, make yourself available. You have an amazing scenic experience. I've seen it many times on FaceTime or Google Meet when we chat. Especially earlier this week, I was like, "There's no way that's got to be a virtual background, like a live virtual background." And you're like, "No, bro, like look at this." I'm like, "Dude, it was just a perfect day. I couldn't believe it." But dude, you live an interesting lifestyle. Let's talk about that. You got some animals, you got chickens, you got horses, you got a big family. What is life like?
all travel.
And you all travel. What is life like for Leo right now?
Dude, it's hectic. It's hectic. I load everybody up and we travel the country.
Wow.
I don't know many people that do it, period. And then I don't think I know anybody who does it with animals. Like there's people that travel with their horses to go do horse shows and rodeos. And there's people that live on the road. That's a different thing. It's a whole different thing. Yeah. I kind of like blended the two. And the truth is that when we went on that road trip, like I decided I wanted to live on the road. That was freedom for me. Like I had purchased a house to flip it. I got really lucky with the market. And I found out I don't want to flip houses.
Yeah.
I made money in the process, which is like a blessing.
That's a blessing. Like, yeah. Well, you need one for that.
Dude, I mean, I made 6 figures learning that lesson.
You made 6 figures learning that lesson? Where'd you buy the house? Where was the fix and flip?
It was in Miami, right? Okay. And it was in an opportunity zone and it was in the hood. And I got it for like right before right when the pandemic started, when the interest rates were like super low and the prices were super low.
And then skyrocketed overnight.
And I bought within it that year. Like a fix and flip. Because I wanted to fix and flip. That's what I wanted to do for like, my real estate stuff. And I put like 10 grand into it and I made 10 times that.
Come on. Let's go. Dude, that's so it's funny you said that because I too bought a couple properties the same year. And one was a rental. And do you know what the BRRRR is? The BRRRR strategy?
Mm-mm.
Buy, rehab, rent, repeat. Buy, rehab, rent, renovate, repeat, whatever. BRRRR. It's the BRRRR strategy.
Mm-hmm.
And basically you purchase a property, you put some sweat equity into it, like you fix it up, right? And you refinance it. So it's appraised at a higher value. And then you pull your initial money back out of it. And then you go out there and you do it again.
Yeah.
It doesn't work well in this last. It's not something you do in a market like right now. It doesn't work really well. You need lower interest rates so the cash flow is there. But it worked really well up until about 2023.
Yeah.
And in 2020, I bought a rental and in Southern California here, dude. And I didn't really do much to it at all. I barely put any money into it. Maybe less than 30 G's. But the market just kept going up. And I got it reappraised so I could do the BRRRR strategy. And it appraised for $200,000 more than what I bought it for. And I was like, damn, bro, I only put like 30K into this thing. But that's the power of real estate. But I got lucky because it was timing, right? It was timing. So I got all my money that I put in back out. And then now, boom, I have this cash flowing property. So it was pretty crazy. But to your point, it was kind of luck.
Bro.
Yeah, it was timing.
It's luck and timing. And I timed it down to the month. Like it wasn't even mine. I'm big on God time.
Yeah.
And just following God time. And I bought it. I lived in it for 2 years because I was gone most of the time, but I was paying the mortgage and that's where I stayed in Miami. I bought it and
I think I remember. No, actually, maybe not. You weren't in that. Were you in that house when you were in a house in Miami somewhere?
When I had already sold it.
Okay.
Yeah, I had already sold it. So I sold it in like November, right before the market, like right at the tip.
That's crazy.
And I just
talk about timing.
And I kept it for that long. I almost sold it earlier in the year, but then my old man was like, hey, if you sell it now instead of in 6 months, you got to pay taxes on it. If you keep it for the 6 more months, you don't have to pay taxes. Yeah. I was like, oh,
yep.
No capital gains tax.
No capital gains.
Bro, it literally was able to keep it. And right when I sold it, I had the market was already starting to slow down and someone came in and paid way too much money for that house. And I was like, thank you.
That's crazy. Well, I'll tell you what, in about 10 years, it'll be probably worth close to double what it's worth, what they paid for it. So
100%.
Real estate always wins at the end of the day.
and it's crazy because this, now what I'm doing, because I'm one of the only people that does what I do, there aren't many places I can find where you can show up with your horses and your chickens.
Where do you find these places? Because I was going to ask you that. I was like, I'm going to wait for this episode because the house you're staying in now, I'm like, damn, bro, and then I know, you're moving again.
My wife's a travel agent.
Oh.
My wife's her family's, they've been travel agents her whole life.
Interesting.
She's not a travel agent. She just does that for family and friends and
Sure.
And dude, I mean, right now, Airbnb, I go on Zillow and I'll find some places that maybe for rent or for sale, see if they're willing to do it. But now my real estate game has pivoted. Because in my mind, I'm like, all right, well, if I'm going to be doing this and this is the lifestyle I want to live, I'm just going to buy places all around that I can do this from place to place and just rent it when I'm not there.
I love that. Yeah, that's kind of my goal right now is I'm looking for something or soon going to be looking for something in the desert area here, like the Palm Springs, Palm Desert area. It's gotten really expensive now, but and it's kind of oversaturated to be honest. So you got to really look for something that's a gem.
Yeah.
And that takes just, time and research and due diligence. But I love that, dude. I freaking love that you have the opportunity to okay, hey, I realize this is the vision I have for my family. This is what I want to do. And this is what we're going to do. And you're doing it. You're an example of someone that's actually doing it. That's the other thing, man. Because a lot of people, I bet you want to live that lifestyle that you're doing right now. Have your chickens, have the farm, have the animals, travel around with the family and the kids, move scene to scene, move place to place. But how many people execute on it actually? Or have the ability to if they don't have a remote opportunity?
They don't. I remember going back to the city after doing it and looking at the houses, and it just looked like prison cells to me. It's like, oh, you get your own little pretty cell.
Damn, dude, that's kind of a wild experience.
I was driving back and I'm like, all of a sudden I'm back in the city. I'm like, all these people go to work every day just so they can pay for their house. so they can put more money in their house. So all their money goes into their house. They can pay their stuff. And I was like, I just saw it. Like, it just visually, I was like, holy shit, these people are just, they're slaving their lives away. And, this whole thing just kind of fits into my whole vision of what I think we can do as a society. Like, there's going to come a point where we can all work remote. AI is going to take over. There's going to be all this kind of stuff. Like, if you don't get yourself online somehow, you're going to get left behind.
Yeah.
So this is the future. And I'm kind of feel like a bridge.
Yeah.
And, we don't really talk about this stuff, but I'm really big into manifestation and stuff. And like, I'll see something, get clear on it, and then like just lose myself in action. So I don't think about it too much, because when you think about it, it kind of pushes it away.
Yep.
But it works, man. Like, I'm literally living my dream right now. Like, sitting here talking to you on this podcast.
Bro, that's freaking awesome.
And dude, the things that have happened to me, like, I could never have scripted ever.
Yeah.
For Brad's to come up and just like all the things that are like, and it's just having that faith and taking the next step. And having that faith and taking the next step. Even if you can't see where you're stepping, like, okay, you've tripped and fell, get back up.
That's right. That's right. Have faith and take the next step, man.
What's the next best step in the direction that I want to go?
You said something. You said getting lost in the action, I think.
Yeah, you got to get lost in the action. Because, like, you got a lot of people talking about manifestation, but one of the things that we do specifically is we kind of like focus on it and we try and work the problem, and we don't just let the universe or God do his work through the universe. And sometimes you just got to step back and let it be. And then I was like, all right, what am I going to do right now? I got to do something. Yeah. Is it in the direction of what I want, or is it in the opposite direction? Or am I just standing still in fear? Now I'm going to walk that way. And it may be the wrong step. Sometimes there's hills, sometimes there's it. But, there came a point where I was getting close to 40, and I looked at my boss. He's 50. Great guy. Was good to me, honestly. But I didn't want his life. Yeah. And I'm like, if I keep listening to you and walking in this direction, I'm walking in the wrong direction. Because he used to always tell me, man, I want to do this, but I'm afraid. I don't want to go backwards. I'm like, his name's Scott. Scott, sometimes you got to go backwards, man. Yeah. Like, if you're going to keep walking in the wrong direction, or you're just going to turn around and say, okay, I went the wrong way. Let me turn around and go back.
Sometimes you have to take a few steps back, man, to take a lot of steps forward.
Or take off-road. Like, take a path that just doesn't exist. Whichever you feel more comfortable with. And actually, whichever one you feel less comfortable with. Because that's how trailblazing, that's how this country was built, right? Like, I look at this and people look at me and they're like, dude, you're crazy. You take so much risk. You take all your kids, you take your family, you put them on the road, and you take everybody, and then, like,
you're living life, baby.
Dude, and think about it, right? Like, we're in California. You know how they got here?
How did they get here?
Dude, a 40-year-old guy like me would grab his family, put them in a wagon, and cross.
Just drive west.
Everything that I just saw on an airplane. Canyons, mountains, Indians, bandits, weather, with their kids in their wagon just to come out here.
It's crazy.
And I'm driving on a road with my truck and my air conditioning, stopping at McDonald's, putting in fuel. Like, dude, I got it easy. What's the worst that happens? I got to go, like, I have a bad month and I got to go do Uber Eats. Oh no. Like, I'm living my life. Like, I don't need to have millions of dollars. If I have a job where I'm making $1 million, but I got to go to the office every day, keep it. Yeah. Keep it. Yeah. I'd rather have the freedom.
Dude, that's powerful, and there's a lot to be said about that, dude. Like, having that lifestyle, right? Man, there's just so much there, dude. You're living like to me, the way I look at it too, it's like true freedom. Because sometimes I also feel like I understand exactly where you're coming from when you're like, you're just in the mundane. You're paying the bills. You're doing this. You're doing that, right? And it's like, to me, like, and I'm in the process of really considering buying an RV for that reason, just so I could travel and kind of do what you're doing, maybe not at the same scale, but close to, where I still want to maybe keep this house, but definitely want to go out there and explore, man, and be over the road. And we have the blessing and the fortune to do that with what we're doing.
Just got to have redundancies. Yeah. I have like 3 different internet sources. That's I've learned.
Crazy. Which one's the best?
Well, it depends. Depends on the weather and where you're at.
Do you have Starlink?
I have Starlink. I have T-Mobile.
I thought Starlink works everywhere and it's the best.
Not if it's raining or snowing.
Really? I didn't know that.
Like DirecTV.
Interesting.
As long as you have clear skies, it's good. Yeah. If you have obstruction, just like DirecTV. No bueno. So it's like I have a hotspot. I have my phone. My phone has a hotspot. I have a Starlink. Because nothing's worse than being on a sales call and then like the guy's like, yeah, let's do it. And the fucking phone dies.
Yeah.
And then you get them back on the phone. They're like, yeah, you know what? I don't want to do it. You're like,
Dude, what I love is you have clarity, man, for your life, for your family, for yourself. And a lot of people don't have clarity, Leo. That's what I realized.
I work on it, dude. You got to meditate. You got to clear. You got to like, and it's all about like getting aligned. Like you say it. It's alignment first.
Alignment. I forgot you even battled 2 freaking hurricanes since I've known you, dude. I totally forgot about that.
They followed me.
They followed
one in
you.
Florida, and then the other one in North Carolina.
North Carolina. That's right.
The big one.
The big one. Dude, I almost forgot about that.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
crazy.
dude. It has been a very like interesting road. But if you're gonna build a big life, like
but those are also great memories and experiences you get to hold for yourself and your family, right?
Yeah, it shows you who you are, man. Like,
yeah.
And it shows you that you're willing to do things that nobody else is willing to do.
Yeah.
Everybody else is like, oh man, what about this? Oh man, what about that? You start thinking about those things, you talk yourself out of it.
One last thing I want to just say is, I just realized the correlation because you're a lot like me in the senses I love change. I don't like necessarily routine, and I like when everything's different and never the same, and that excites me. So, you're kind of the same way. It's kind of what I'm gathering, and now it makes sense to me when you're like, yeah, I enjoy the pivot on the offers. I enjoy the this. I enjoy the that. Well, I see you doing that in your life, right?
Yeah.
It's like the same thing. So it's like it makes sense to me why the two things are the same.
Oh yeah, dude. And that was the other thing. Like, honestly, the one person I clicked with the most was you. You and Trish, but you, Trish, Marisa was like, I was just like, these guys are doing it.
Shout out Marisa.
Yeah.
And Trish.
Talk about somebody who's gonna call you, talk to you, and talk to your limiting beliefs right to your face.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that, dude. I love that.
Speaking of limiting beliefs, before we end it, dude, what is maybe a limiting belief that you held on to that you might have overcame in the last year with us?
Oh man, a limiting belief that I got. That's a tough one, dude.
Or maybe you're holding on to one now.
I'm definitely still holding on to a few of them.
Yeah.
I'm definitely still holding on to a few of them.
Yeah.
But being around you and Rich is another person that's like, when I saw Rich and he's doing it with the family, and we homeschool, he homeschools, and I saw like one of the biggest things for me is like, find somebody who has something you want and listen to them.
Yeah.
And that's what I found. I'm like, okay, these guys got what I want. Let me listen to them.
Yeah.
Maybe not everything, but specifically right now, the team that I work with, the leadership that I have, everybody has what I want. They do it the way I want to. Like, I like doing it with integrity. And there's nothing better, bro. There's nothing better.
Damn. There you have it, folks. Leo, anything we haven't chatted about that you want to leave with our listener today and share?
Yeah, I think a lot of people look at this industry and they're thinking about like all the big money they can make. $20,000, $30,000 a month, $50,000 a month. That's fantastic. Everybody wants that, right? You don't have to get there at the beginning.
Yeah.
Structure your life. If you think you need to do this, but you got to just make your life affordable, give yourself some space to fail, and then go for it.
That's powerful, dude. There you have it, folks. Leo, I still can't believe we're sitting here in front of each other over a year later and I'm seeing you in the flesh, man. This is crazy to me. I've been purposely waiting for you to do this in person.
Yeah.
Waiting for this day because we could have done it virtually all day long, but I appreciate you, man, coming out here. I'm excited to freaking hang the next day or two, couple days, and let's tear it up, guys. We'll see you on the next episode. Peace.